I want you to see how it changes after the ARP poisoning attack. So let's go ahead and start it. So remember, all we're doing, we're going to first trick this Windows ARP table to tell it that we're the router, we're 192.168.1.1, and then we're going to trick the router and tell the router that we're the victim.
Wait, so the device with the command prompt, which device is that in the example? Is that the victim, the attacker, or the server?
Say that again.
Where you got the command prompt open? Is that right there? Is that the command prompt for the victim, the attacker, or the server?
So this is the command prompt for the victim. So this is the Windows 7 operating system that we're using right now.
Okay.
It's this guy right here.
Gotcha.
That screen that we were looking at was his screen, and the other screen was the Cali screen.
Oh, okay. Can you keep that up?
The Windows. Oh yeah, I got you.
Picture for 1 second. I'm using like a snipping tool, so I can put this in my notes.
Do your thing, bro. Slip away, man. Slip away.
All right, I'm good with you.
All right. So remember the ARP poisoning attack. We're going to see it happen. All right. So let's stop playing nice. So first thing I'm going to do. Well, before I even start that up, I need to start up our web server. We don't got a web server yet. I'm going to start up a quick and dirty web server using Python. Now, I don't know, you don't need to know these commands for your exam or for anything. I mean, you can know it to know it. If you have a Linux machine that has Python, you can create a quick and dirty web server like this. But before I create it, what's here? I'm going to open this file. What I did, I hit the cat command. Let's start over. So Toby typed in cat, and I typed in the name of a file, testing.txt. You see, the file is right here. I want to see what's in the file real quick. So cat command opens up the file for me. It says testing this out for the lab. If this works, we will see it on the web server we started up just now. Okay? So that's the file. Let me pull this up real quick. Remember when we said that this guy right here, this Windows machine, was going to go to this web server to grab a file. So that file is called testing.txt. We're going to go grab this file. And this guy, the attacker, is going to see us grab the file. And just for the heck of it, I'm going to run Tcp Dump at the same time so we can see what's in the file. Just so you can actually see what I'm talking about. Like, yeah, we can see everything that you're doing if it's unencrypted. So we're going to do a few things now. Now we're about to have some fun. All right, let's do this thing. So let's start up our web server. I'm going to use this Python command. I don't know if it's going to let me run it without sudo, but we'll find out. And all I'm doing is starting up a simple web server on port 80. Okay. And the reason I'm using port 80 is because of one of the programs I'm going to use to sniff the network. But I'm just going to use port 80. Now what it's going to do, yeah, I need sudo. I thought so. So what this is going to do, it's going to turn this directory right here, everything under this directory. So what we're looking at is a location. And this location is my home student location. So everything under here, under course desktop downloads, it's under home student. And make that look real for you real quick. I'm under home right now, right? This says home. I'm under home right here. If I go back, you'll see home. Now I see, right? If I go into my username student, I'm going to a different location, right? If I hit ls, list out everything in that location, I'm going to see everything right here. So location is just a directory, all right? It's just a place of folders and different files. If I wanted to go into this downloads folder, from the command line, I just go to CD, change directory, downloads. Boom, I'm in the same directory. Let me make sure I see something in the chat. So how does the attacker confuse the computer to override the actual route? I got you. That's what we're gonna do. Got you. I got you, bro. Come on, man. Come on, man. So let's go back and start up our web server. The web server is going to get started in this directory. So it's going to make everything in this directory accessible on the internet, like you would go to a website. So we're going to do sudo Python, pick my modules, somebody TP server. Remember, you don't need to know this for your exam. Do I remember my password? Okay. So we started our web server. Now the web server is started. If I went to it right now, I'm gonna wait. We're gonna go to it. What was the IP address again? Oh yeah, we wrote it down. We're gonna go to it because I need the IP to get to it. So now I'm gonna start my ARP spoofing. I'm gonna open this guy. Oh, what you doing there, bro? Hold on. Slow down. I'm gonna start my ARP spoofing, and I don't know if I can run this without sudo. Let me see. Okay, yeah, I need it. So I like to see, so sudo is, when we run sudo before command, we're telling the operating system to run it as if we were an administrator. Certain commands on Linux, you can't run it as a normal user. Like I couldn't run this Python server as a normal user. I had to type in sudo. I got a permission denied because I was a normal user. So I had to escalate my privileges, y'all. To the class, I escalated my privileges using sudo. So, and when you're in the real world, you pay attention to what access sudo has, because a lot of people are going to have access to sudo. So you want to make sure you know what they can do and make sure it's limited to what they should be allowed to do. So let's start this ARP quickly before I go into a rabbit hole. So sudo ARP spoof. This is the tool we're going to use. It's called ARP spoof. I'm going to tell it to use my route, to use my router. Okay. This Kali machine, like I said, is on the same router as the Windows machine. For a man-in-the-middle attack to work, you need to be on the same network. How you get on that network, we'll talk about that. That's social engineering. Students in the class should be familiar with that. But right now, we need to be on the network. We got on the network. I'll show you how we can get on the network later. But we're on there. We're on this network, this Wi-Fi. I want you to think of this as Wi-Fi, because the Wi-Fi, you get Wi-Fi from your router that's in your house. Maybe it's in your basement or by your TV, wherever. That's where the Wi-Fi comes from. So this device and this device, this endpoint and this endpoint, they are on the same network. Now, it's all good for it. Let's put this back up. Now I'm going to tell ARP spoof to look at this router. What's ETH0? Yeah. I'm going to tell it to sniff network from that connection, from this ETH0 connection. You don't need to know what it is. This is the Ethernet connection. If I was on a real Wi-Fi, because I'm not on Wi-Fi right now, these machines are a virtual machine on my computer. I'm using the Ethernet. That's ETH0. If I was on Wi-Fi, I would do something like WLAN 0. WLAN is your wireless local access network. It's wireless. ETH is Ethernet. It's like you plug up a cord into the back of your computer. You plug up an Ethernet cord, to be specific, into the back of your computer, and you connect the other end, obviously, to the router. So that's how VMs are quote unquote set up. So anyway, ETH0. Now I'm going to tell ARP spoof my targets. The first target I want to tell it is my Windows machine. What was the IP address? Let me make sure that's right. I think that's right. I want to tell it to trick my Windows machine, and I want to tell it to trick my router. So that's one spoof I'm going to, I said spoof. Spoof means trick. That's one connection I'm going to trick, okay? the connection between the victim and the router. I'm gonna hit enter. Anytime you run sudo or try to escalate your privileges, it's gonna ask you for your password. So now my computer is sending spoof pack or ARP packets between these connections right now. So I need to do one more, right? Let me do one more. And all we're doing is starting the man in the middle attack with a ARP poisoning attack. That's all we're doing. We're just starting it up. And we didn't even, I didn't have to download these tools. They came with Kali Linux. Kali Linux is a pen testing operating system. It's really a pen testing and forensic operating system because they have forensic tools on here too. But it has these built in already. You could even download it on Linux if you wanted to. So on the other one, I think we did the Windows IP first, so I gotta do it the other way now. So that's 168.1.1. And that's if I typed in the right IP. 194. Okay. So we're spoofing both ways now. Both connections are being tricked. Now before we look, oh yeah, I want to do that too. Hold on. Let's do this. Let's pull this up right here though. Come on, guy. We're gonna see this in like real time, y'all. Like this is the fun stuff, okay? Like all that other AWS garbage stuff y'all talk about. This is the fun stuff right here. So I'm about to start up. I didn't start up again. I probably gotta do sudo.
Are these like 4 different command prompts?
Yeah.
Okay.
So and this is how you hack, bro. Like if I'm like botnets, this is how a botnet would look like from an attacker's perspective. I got so many different bots that I'm connected to. This is why being well versed in Linux is imperative if you want to pen test. Dang, I don't even know if this is the right command. Oh yeah, it is. Yeah. So this is why I put it on port 80. Because this is a URL sniffer. It's just capturing traffic on your network or websites that people are going to on your network. And the network is capturing it from right now is that Ethernet connection that this Windows or this Linux machine is on and the Windows machine is on. Now something else I'm going to start up is TCP dump. If I remember this, like I used to use these commands a lot. Like you'll see, man, like everybody has to refresh with like a quick cheat sheet or something from time to time because you just do so many things, bro. Like I'm not always pen testing. Sometimes I'm splunking, sometimes I'm building out some other type of code or like an API. Like it's so many different things, but they always stick with you though. You just gotta type in the keyboard and it comes back. Oh yeah, see, told you, man. It'll come back. 194, and I want to do import 80 because I don't want to sniff everything. What I'm telling it to do is capture traffic on this Ethernet. Don't worry about the switch right here. You'll see what it looks like in a second. Capture from this host, that's our Windows machine, and that's a Boolean, there's logic here, and port 80. So only capture traffic from this guy on this port. Because if I don't do that, hold on. If I don't do that, right, you see how I hit enter? Dang, you capturing already? You see it's not a lot of stuff yet. Well, you ain't supposed to be a lot of stuff yet. Let me show you the difference between this and if I just capture everything. See, it's just gonna run like crazy. It's like gonna keep going and keep going and keep going. And I don't wanna see all that. So I just wanna see stuff from here. Okay, so right now, recap. We got an ARP poisoning going on. We're catching URLs right here. Anything that the victim machine goes to, we should be able to see it here. And we're gonna see it here too, because this TCP dump is a network capture. It's a network capture. Oh, say network capture. It's a packet sniffer. It captures network traffic. It's a traffic analyzer. So it's just gonna capture as much traffic as we tell it to. And if it's unencrypted, like our Ethernet is, we'll be able to see it. So if your router is not encrypted, this is why I hit the double X, so it can come out looking like this. And it's not gonna make sense. So watch this. Let's go back to our victim machine real quick before we I want to show. I told you we already spoofed the machine, right? Now, oh yeah, I didn't even have to do the capture. I can do it again. If I look at the ARP table again, hopefully it worked. Hopefully it worked. We should see another entry in here. Where you at? There you go. I did a reverse. Now you see we have another entry. We have the Cali's IP address in here now. We have Cali's IP address right here. That's our attacker with the same MAC address as the router. So we poisoned the ARP table and told the Windows machine, hey, I am the router. Don't listen to this guy. Listen to me. Because the Windows machine, its ARP table, it really cares about the MAC address. This is just a plus. This is a bonus to prove that, okay, this is the guy like me. But this right here, I need this. So I tricked you and told you, hey, I got the same MAC address as the Windows, as the router. Go ahead and send the traffic over to me, all right? You know, send it to me. Don't send it to the router. And the router, I pretty much told the router to just stop functioning and let me handle everything. I'm going to be the router. You chill out, take a break. I won't tell the boss. I got it. So now let's go grab that file real quick. You know, little old me, 168.1.198. So every time you go to a website, there's a port number at the end. When I hit colon, everything after it is a port number or the digits after it. So that's port 8080, which most proxies use. When you're going to a website that's not encrypted, it's using port 80. That's HTTP. Whoops. Port 80. When you go to Facebook and online security and all these other encrypted websites, it's using port 443. Okay, 443. That's HTTPS. This is how the computer reads it, not how we type it. But this, we type it in like this. And then, well, hold on. I'm going to break it. No, don't do that. God, I'm doing the man in the middle attack. So that's how we type it. But let's get back to this. 168.1.198. I think that was it on port 80. By default, I don't have to type port 80 because by default, that is a web browsing protocol. So I can just type this and boom. I see all the files that were in that directory, especially this testing.txt. I'm going to click it, testing this web server out for the lab. If this works, we will see it on the web server. Now, before we get too much traffic on that other server, I want to switch over so you can see it. Hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. All right. So let's look at this URL sniffer first. Where you going, bro? Stay right there. Hold on. Okay. Yeah. So let's look at this URL sniffer first. We can see the file. So this ARP poisoning, we don't need this anymore. It's running. It's still running. Because this was the trick, the endpoints. This was the step to trick the endpoints. Now we've tricked them. Now here's the step to capture their data. This is one way. This is another way. But first we had to get in the middle of the traffic. We had to become the man in the middle. We did that by poisoning the ARP table. Now we're capturing traffic. I can see that this guy went to this website to grab this file. So let's make sense of what we're looking at. Here's the IP address. Hold on. Let's look at this. This right here is our IP address. This is our web server or our Cali's IP address. Oh no, I'm sorry. That's our Windows machine. This is our Windows machine's IP address. So the Windows machine at this time and day tried to get this file. Tried to get this testing.txt file. Get command is just a normal request. If you go to onlinesecurity.com, if you go to facebook.com, if you go to instagram.com, you're sending a GET request. So we can see that they tried to make this request. We can't see what's in it because this tool only captures the URLs, which is good enough, you know, because now we can start building a profile about the things you're looking at, or we can start building scripts and code to find this file on your computer so we can see what you're testing. Now over here on this packet sniffer, we are going to see exactly what was in the file once I find it, and I'm gonna find it. Hold on. This is why I like to admit everything is coming through. It's just gonna be a lot of junk. You know what I should have did? I should have saved it to a file. So let's do it again because I want you to see it. I just don't want to spend all day. If you see it before me, let me know. All right, that's the file name. Testing.txt. This is the request. That's the Firefox agent. Got a 404 error right there. Okay, here it is. There you go. Sneaky little dog view. So here it is. Testing this out for the lab. If this works, we will see it on the web server we just started up now. This right here is why public Wi-Fi, open Wi-Fi that does not require, that is not encrypted. I mean, open Wi-Fi is not encrypted. That's why it's called open Wi-Fi. But this is why open Wi-Fi is bad. This is why people spend thousands of dollars on encryption. Because imagine if you were logging into your bank account at the airport or at your hotel. And imagine if somebody like me was just bored and decided to see what I could see. Let's say, hey, I'm gonna turn on some ESPN and open up my laptop and run these commands real quick and see what happens. If I really want to, I can get a lot of information out of that. Like just how much you can get, like you can really get a lot. But this is your man in the middle attack right here. Now the cross-site scripting, I wanted to go over that. It's 10 o'clock. I wanted to go over that. I mean, we can go through that really quickly if y'all want to, so you can see it. But we're probably gonna, for the sake of time, might save that for the next one because I don't want to be up all night with this thing. Now, does anybody have questions with the man in the middle tech? This is how it works, man. And it's this easy. It's this easy. It's this easy when the traffic is unencrypted. It ain't this easy in the real world. No, it's this easy if we're at a coffee shop and it's still not that easy. So I take it back because there's still things like you can see information that's easy. Like I can literally do this and I can see stuff, but to actually compromise somebody, it's going to take a little bit more effort. It's going to take a little bit more time.
Hey, Toby, question. Yeah, so hypothetically, could this be used to like get on into like the Facebook algorithm? Because that would be an easy way to get into a lot of social engineering, especially since everybody's information is on Facebook pretty much.
Now, when you say get into the algorithm, how so? Like, are you talking about the algorithm of how they populate things?
Yeah, I guess I could say that.
I mean, it can. So, one thing about this, what you can do with this in Facebook, well, you can't anymore. But you used to be able to. So, when you go to Facebook.com, right? Let me stop this. I want to start that web server up so bad. When you go to Facebook.com, it's encrypted. It's already encrypted. But there used to be a point in time, and not everybody does this. Facebook does it, of course. But there used to be a way I can force your browser to use HTTP instead of HTTPS. The one thing we talk about in the class is that security is a cat and mouse game. Yeah, we're constantly making secure things, and attackers are constantly getting through it.
Right.
We made HTTPS, so they said, okay, you think you're going to lock us up that way? We're going to force browsers to go back to HTTP. They can see this information. Now, this man in the middle attack, that's how they used to steal people's Facebook passwords. Because those people would try to go to facebook.com using HTTPS, but the man in the middle forced a degrade, which is a attack you guys learn later on in class, the downgrade attack. They downgrade the web browser to use more or unsecure protocol like HTTP. So that's how they used to steal Facebook app credentials.
Gotcha.
Middle attack.
Gotcha.
It's really this easy. It gets, this is the basics, bro. Like this ain't nothing right here, I'm gonna be honest. But this is, you can do this at home and see a lot, but you can take this a lot farther than just this right here. We could actually, this web server that we went to, we typed in 192.168.1.1. You're not doing that in the real world. You think I'm going to click that? Nobody's. No. You hope people aren't that stupid. No, we're going to actually put a DNS here. We're going to put a domain name and call it your favorite guy or familyguy.com or naruto.com, whatever. Something that makes sense to who we're trying to get to click. It costs money to do that, but that's one thing we would do. Another thing we would do is add certificates to bypass like certain security controls. We would, and we just going into different rabbit holes, man. Like all this stuff they learned in the class, like you can take this a lot further. This is just the beginning. It works. It still works. It still works all the time. But this can be taken a lot further. What we were gonna see also was how cross-site scripting attacks work. I'll just give you a quick sneak peek, but then I'm gonna cut it short, y'all.
Gotcha.
Give me a sneak peek because I like this stuff, man. So actually, no, dang, I stopped it. I want to keep going, but look, I stopped it right, and if I go back here, as soon as I start that ARP poisoning, it went back to normal. I got my attacker's machine, the IP went back to his IP. He's not using the router's MAC address anymore because I stopped the ARP poisoning attack. But I'm about to start it back up just so y'all can see something real quick. Actually, you know what? We're gonna say the cross-site scripting for another time. Because if I start it, I already know I'm not gonna be able to stop it, man. I'm not gonna do that to myself right now. So this is man in the middle tech, y'all. This is one way to do it. ARP poisoning. In your class, you learned about man in the middle. You learned about ARP poisoning. If it was confusing, this is what it is. This is all they're doing. They're just changing, mixing and matching things from the ARP table. That's it. They're confusing the system and they're confusing the router. And they sit in on the network and just capture everything. They don't have to do anything. They can be on your network for years. For years. Typically, like these advanced threat actors out there, they don't just, I don't want to speak for all of them. They are sniffing stuff for a long time. There are companies who are hacked right now. You're probably hacked, I'm probably hacked, and we may not even know. I have a good idea that I'm not because of certain protocols I'm taking and things that I'm doing. But these people are on your network for years. When the IRS got hacked, they were on their network for years. Target, years. Walmart, years. Yahoo, years. They're just sitting there.